Hello and welcome to episode 7 of my Mindset Tips series. Just a reminder, this is not a sports psychology course. It is a collection of individual tips designed for performance-related activities. Now, performance-related simply means sports, business presentations, maybe music, exams, anything where how you approach something will affect your performance. Now, because it is not a course, it means that you don't have to have watched any of the previous episodes. But of course, I recommend you do that because I think that they contain a lot of useful information. Depending on the device that you're watching, you can either see a link here or there will be a link to the previous episodes in the text description. On the screen at the moment is a list of the tips that I'm going to be talking about in this episode, along with the times. So if you want to jump to one, you can do that immediately. Those links are also in the text description. So let's get started. Tip number 25, have no expectations about your performance. As soon as you go somewhere and you say, this is the level that I expect myself to perform at, you're putting pressure on yourself. Now, for some people, that can be useful because they need that extra push. But many times that doesn't work, especially for club players or for just regular business presentations. We're not talking about a TED Talk or anything like this. As soon as you set these targets, it's a black and white. It's a pass and fail. It's a 1 and a 0. It's binary. And you just want to focus on what you can control. And you can control your performance. And if the outcome, winning or losing, passing the exam, getting the contract, well, if those things happen, well, they'll happen because you performed well. So just focus on that. Don't set some arbitrary, preconceived level of performance. Just focus on the performance. Tip number 26, and this is the very first one that is squash specific. A winner is not a winner because it's this much above the tin. It's a winner because it was the right shot at the right time. So shot selection is often more important than the quality of shot. Now, that's a very vague statement to make. I'm not saying that you can hit terrible shots and still win points. I mean, you can sometimes, but you still need to hit a good shot. But what I'm trying to get across here, what I'm trying to communicate to you is that you shouldn't be going for these fine margins, perhaps at professional level, but for most club amateurs and even advanced players, choosing the right shot is more important than how good your shot was. If you play your shot back to your opponent, but it's an absolutely fantastic shot, it's still back to your opponent. If you play it somewhere else where your opponent has to move, it doesn't have to be this much above the tin. It could still be this much above the tin and still be a great shot or maybe even a winner. So think more about where you're hitting the shot, but also why am I hitting it here? Why am I playing these types of shots? Think about what you're doing in a general context rather than specifically, this is how I have to hit the perfect shot. Because the reality is that a great shot can be the wrong shot, if that makes sense. Tip number 27 is to do with visualization. Now, if you don't know what visualization is, it is the process of seeing something in your mind's eye and rehearsing how you want things to go. Basically, if your mind sees it, it believes that it can happen. It believes it did happen. It will make you more confident. It will make you a better performer. Now, visualization is generally done outside of the activity that you're doing, but it can also be done in the middle. It can be done in the middle of a point. Well, it can be done in the middle of a game. So between the points, you can see yourself hitting this wonderful backhand return down the wall, or a great serve, or sounding very confident, or playing exactly the right notes in exactly the right way that you want to play it. Sorry, I'm not a musician. So visualization, and if you don't know, you really should look for more resources on that. I've got some videos. I'm sure there are other videos. There's plenty of information on the internet. But don't think it's something that you only do when you're not performing. It can be done in the middle of a performance, depending on the performance. I don't expect perhaps it's in the middle of playing a guitar, for example, or in the middle of hitting a shot, you wouldn't do it then, but you could do it between songs, you could do it between questions, between business presentations. It doesn't have to be only outside. It can be short. It can be reminding you what you want to do with the next shot. It can be reminding you to stand up straight. It can be reminding you that you can play these types of shots. You don't have to play the ones that you've always played. So learn more about visualization if it's completely new to you. If it's not, understand that it doesn't have to be done outside of the court when you're not performing. It can be done in the middle of a match to remind you to play the right shots at the right time, which was the tip number 26, by the way. Tip number 28, you won't always be motivated. That's why you have to be disciplined. This is one of my favorite tips. And it's one of my favorite because it comes down to definitions, and definitions is something that I'm really interested in. How we define words, what they evoke in our emotions, in our mindset. Now, the difference between motivated and disciplined. Motivated means that you really want to do something. That moment, you really want to wake up in the morning early. Yeah, you wake up and you feel great. Oh, the sun's shining. Let's get out there. Let's get that run done. Let's get that practice done. Let's rehearse that business presentation. Disciplined means doing it when you don't always feel like doing it. Now, you know that waking up, just an example, you know that perhaps waking up early and getting your workout done or having a rehearsal for your business presentation is great. But come on, it's warm, it's cold out, it's warm in the bed. Who wants to wake up? I need another couple of hours of sleep at least. So being disciplined is doing something when you don't always feel like it. Discipline can be learnt. Discipline is really just another word for habit. If you get accustomed to waking up early or staying up late, I'm not one of these people who say you have to wake up early. I love waking up early, but if you are a person who performs better late at night or you like to do things late at night, I'm fine with that. I just use early because it suits my routine. If you are the kind of person who enjoys waking up early, that's great. But if you're not and you know the work needs to be done, you've got to be disciplined. And by doing something again and again and again, it often becomes a habit. And discipline can become a habit. And you might have even heard the phrase, success is a habit. When you've been successful, you are more successful. It's almost like, a phrase in English is like a snowball effect. As the snowball rolls down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's more likely to continue rolling. And that's the idea with success. But it's also, perhaps more importantly, related to discipline. The more you do something, the more you will just do it, even if you don't feel like doing it. And that can be the difference between good performers and great performers. Great performers are disciplined. If you only ever work hard when you're motivated, well, what's going to happen on the times that you're not motivated? So find a way to stay disciplined. And I can't give you some quick tip that says do this and you will suddenly be disciplined. But if you can find ways of becoming more disciplined, that will be really good. Reminding yourself of what you're aiming for. Doing it without thinking. So you just wake up, you get out of bed. You don't stay there for that, extra couple of moments thinking, oh, perhaps I should. Turn off the alarm, get out of bed. Come home, have your bag ready to go straight to the gym. Make it so that you don't have to think, you don't have to decide, you don't hesitate. You just do it. Sorry, that's the Nike slogan, but of course, the less you have to think, the easier it is. And that's what disciplined is. Doing it when you don't want to, doing it without even thinking. Well, there we have episode 7. I hope that those tips were useful. On the screen at the moment is a playlist of all of the other Mindset Tips videos, so please check those out. There's also a video that YouTube thinks is a good fit for you based on what you've been watching, and also a subscription button. If and only if you think my content is useful, please consider subscribing. Remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.